How to Destroy Angels. Anyway, hi, Zeospantera here, your host with the most, directing you to Hi-Fi Guides and the Hi-Fi Guides forum. I'm going to do it at the beginning of videos now because no one knows that that place exists. Hi-Fi Guides started as a recommendation site, and we haven't updated in a while, and I apologize, it's DMS and our fault. But the forums, that's a life of its own. Actually gets a much more traffic than a lot of other audio forums. But anyway, wallpaper in the description. Links to the Apos Caspian, which is a very nice name for a headphone, honestly. Caspian sounds like a fancy motherfucker. He's just like, oh my god, is that Prince Caspian? So, Apos, you know this site. You've been there. I've linked things from there. They send me amps. They send me DACs. And they sent me, I think, a headphone or two. But this is their headphone. This is the Apos Caspian. And I actually have two of them here on my desk because they sent me one to analyze and then one that was like more towards the final production one. And I liked the one that they sent me to analyze. I did. I liked the way it sounded. Everybody else hated it. And so they adjusted it to this one. And I still like the way it sounds. I will start this video with I like the way this sounds. There's other things we got to go into about the price, about the build, about how it sounds, and if it's going to be right for literally any of you, because I'm a weirdo. I'm a weirdo that has way too many fucking headphones. So when something sounds different, that's appealing to me. But if you're a person who can only get like 2-3 headphones, you know, in the next 3-year period, how different do you want your headphones to sound? I had a very similar issue to this with the Nighthawks, AudioQuest Nighthawks, because the Nighthawks sounded weird as fuck, but I loved them. Like you put them on and it was like, where am I? What am I listening to? Why does it sound like it's out of phase? Hello? Is there an echo? And then this shit would just happen and you're like, oh my god. And this is as close as I can give you to a modern revision of the Nighthawks. Not the Night Owls. No one liked the Night Owls. Because they're originally Kennerton. Here, this brand here. See Kennerton? Kennerton makes headphones. And they obviously, Apos and Kennerton worked together to develop the Caspian. So now the new bag has no Kennerton label. They have grown up. They've graduated. So it comes from a company that actually knows what they're doing. A lot of headphone manufacturers or companies that start making headphones don't even start there. They just say like, hey, China, give me some shit. And China's like, oh, okay. And then they just give them some shit. And then they got the name in it and they're done. So at least Apos has taken the time to even write out blog posts. You know there's an Apos blog? Describing the measurement process, how they put it through the measurement process, what they were aiming for, their goals, how they started to form the ideal headphone for them. And here's another thing. When you make a headphone, if you make a headphone, if Zeo sat down and said, hey, I'm going to make a headphone right now, finna gonna finish this headphone, there's only one guarantee. I will fucking love it. Will you? Will she? Will she? Anybody else will love it? I don't know, but I'll love it. So when you're building a headphone for what to represent basically a brand, you have to sort of like take into account other people. You have to send it to people like Zeos and have them report like, what do you think about the sound? Do you think it's too aggressive? Do you think it's too much low end? Do you think it's pads? Do you think it's comfort? So that all said, I gave my feedback to Apos and they've tweaked a couple things, but they can't twink everything. They can't twink everything. Quote me on that. I want to give you the tour, but I want to talk about sound first because the tour, the build, is going to be the part where you go like, fuck, Zeos, why? And I'm going to be like, oh, look, I don't know why. It's just, it happens. So this is the older pair, which is currently hooked up with the Apos flow cable, which doesn't come with the units. The units are going to come with a 1/4-inch plug. It's the standard Kennerton cable. Thick AF fabric. Plenty long. It's got this on it, which I kind of not jazzed about. I was going to go to build last, but apparently I'm talking about the wire now. I think because I have to talk about that being balanced and this being unbalanced, and now I'm going to swap in somewhere in the middle. Look at this like leather, like nippled strap. So you're like that, and it'll hold your stuff, but you can't take this off. It doesn't fit off. You'd have to actually just cut it or unscrew it here to take this off. you'd probably unscrew it. But it is designed to be wrapped around and boom, you have your thing. But nice cable. It goes into mini XLRs, and I'm using 2 amp stacks right now. I have the new Geshelli Labs J2 and E2 stack, which without the background LEDs. And I've got the topping E50 L50 stack, which is also balanced, which I haven't got to review yet. So neither one of these is reviewed. And you can see the bags, and you see the box, and blah, 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 blah. The sound in the originals was very aggressive yet soft feeling. Kind of like being attacked by one of those like clown hammers that goes beep, beep, beep. So like I've had headphones that I put on and the sound attacks you and you feel like you're being beaten like you're in like middle school and all the bullies have come to beat the shit out of you. I've had those headphones. I don't like those headphones. So this was like you're being attacked by all the cheerleaders. You're still being kicked on the floor, but you're kind of enjoying it. It's like, oh, damn, this is a good view. So that's what I was getting with the original ones. And the new ones, they've basically kept it the same, just tweaked a little bit. They even talk about it in the blog, but how they actually added dips, specifically the 2000 and 7000K, to try to make it less fatiguing. I don't know if that's completely worked, again, but it seems like this is like a wildcard headphone. And it's not a cheap wildcard headphone. When they originally sent me this pair, I was like, wait, $600? You what? And they're like, how's about 500? I'm like, that's better, but we're going to still have to talk. Talking completely on sound still. I'm not getting to the build till I'm done with the... completely on sound. Let's put on the kick squad, which I guess is what you would call a bunch of cheerleaders kicking you. Pause that. Make sure that's quiet. Turn up this. Low gain, by the way, on both, because they also were designed to be... Sorry, issue with that. Anyway, 50 millimeter, they do the periop thing where this is such a square edge and it's so heavy and stiff that it just catches on the table when you pick it up. 50 millimeter Kennerton driver, dynamic, and it's been tuned in a way that does not give you extremely wide sound stage. It just doesn't give it to you. But that's okay. Not everything needs to have wide, soft sound stage. I'm a big wide, soft sound stage like fanboy. I love my Zeus. I love my Phoenix. I love anything that's like sit back, relax, big music. But every once in a while, I want something a little bit more aggressive, like an HG660S. That headphone, the Sennheiser HG660S over there, is an aggressive headphone to me. And it sounds close enough. 5.5X is a little bit, 5.8X is a little bit softer, but 660S was like, holy shit, what are you doing? And these headphones, they do this weird thing where instead of being wide, they're narrow, but then they sound like they have a front and back stage going on. And because they tuned it specifically to have dips at 2 and 7 hertz, 2 and 7 kilohertz, the bass is more solid than I would expect from a headphone this narrow. Like usually you have big, wide, warm, fluffy bass in your big, wide, warm headphone. And this is a narrower, yet still somehow, it's like W-shaped, where it's like there's a bass boost. There's a definite bass improvement technique being used to make the low end go wub and smack you. But then the highs also creep in there, and they're not like distant and muddled. It's they pride themselves in the clarity of this headphone. Like I'm listening to, this is Yoko Kanno, Don't Bother Me, Don't Bother None, guitar singing, and it's happening in my ear holes. It's not anywhere else. I'm not listening to, you know, some speaker that's in a distant room and it's echoing around. It's like right here. Fuck. Put it into my brain. This is someone's perfect headphone. Someone's perfect headphone. Is it my perfect headphone? I've enjoyed listening to it. When I want to relax, I listen to something else. But when I want to actually, like, this is a very sit up, spend $500 and listen to your goddamn music. Pay attention in school, whip. Walked around town. Okay. Bass is solid. Soundstage is narrow, but you get made up by clarity and somehow warmth that doesn't skew it too badly. Like, it doesn't sound like any headphone I've... You're like, Zeos, what does it sound like? And I look on my wall and I go... Alara? Maybe? No, 660 doesn't have this sort of bass. Sadar is way too airy and light. I can tell you how it doesn't sound like every headphone, which by process of elimination, you'd be able to then draw out a graph and be like, oh, this is how they sound. Because they don't sound like this or this or this or this. The Emotivas right there probably are closest. Those are a planar, these are a dynamic. But these, all right, let me read you a blurb. This is either going to sell you on these headphones or take you right out of the fucking game. So, I'm going to read you the blurb at the top of the Apos thing called The Sound. How they decided the sound. We designed the Caspian to make you smile, not to be used as a microphone for analyzing every last detail. Okay, good start. The bass is playful yet controlled, alive and extended with visceral rumble. I'm adding a little bit of inflection to this so it's not boring. The mid-range is compelling with a focus on realism and immersion. For the high end, we wanted all the airiness and sparkle of a quality treble experience without the fatigue of a bad one. That sentence could be tweaked. To get there, we introduced a series of dips between 2K and 7K that protect sensitive parts of your hearing from fatigue. And I can see that because you can't usually get a headphone that's this aggressive. And it is aggressive. It is right up in your head. It's like, how you doing? This is where the sound's coming from now. That doesn't immediately make me throw the headphones off and start, shaking and everything. So they've done most of that job. There are still some songs that I put on that the treble will just squeak by that, like those dips. And whenever they didn't dip, it's like, treble, treble. It's few and far between, luckily. Now, these are narrower than KPH-30Is, which is impressive that they could pull that off. But narrow is okay. Like, I'm not upset by this because they're doing something different from every headphone. They're literally just vibrating my ears with low end and whatever tones you would consider warm are doing things to my head. Oh. That's perfect. I'm going to back that up so you could hear. This is the perfect sound. This is the perfect sound for these headphones because it makes you feel like you're in some sort of magical fucking land. It's just that boom is like literally inside of you. So, let's see what the old ones sound like on the. I'm going to pause that. I'm going to change the wires because you can get the Apos balanced flow, and I know there's a sound difference between these two stacks. They're not stacks with an X. They're stacks with a CKS. Let's do this here. I don't absolutely love Mini XLR, and frankly, I think it would have been fine if they just used 3.5mm. But I guess whatever Kennerton was using for these previously, I think they told me the Kennerton model of this headphone was like $800, and I'm about to step into build, and we'll discuss how, if that's the case, I kind of want to review those so I could yell like a fucking screaming infant on an airplane. Okay, yeah, no, that's definitely doing that. So they're a little bit amp dependent because I played them on 4 amplifiers maybe. I had like a little portable one, got these 2 different stacks, and I think I had them on, I didn't have them on tube. Should rock them on a tube. A tube might, I'm just going to turn that on. And it's not plugged in, so it's not going to make a goddamn bit of difference, is it? Is it turned on? Are you plugged in? Why you do this to me? You make me look like a fool. I'm just, I should have tried them on a tube, but I'm trying to get this done before Capital AFS, so apologize. Besides, tubes have to be warmed and straightened out. And really, what they provide doesn't need a tube. Like, if a tube added more bass, that'd be bad. If a tube made it sound less coherent, that'd be bad. All I could hope a tube could do is add a little bit of soundstage. And I really went on to hook up the TA26, which is over there on the freezer. So, because that's the go-to boy. Linked in the description, Extra TA26. Maybe I'll bring that to Capital Audio Fest. I feel like that's a tube amp that no one's heard. Slightly amp dependent, but that's fine, because on no amp it sounds bad. You just get a little bit more in like a... It's like the shape changes more severely. It's like when you're looking at a painting and someone changes something and you're 10 feet away from that painting, it's like you maybe don't notice that dog's tail is now tucked under his legs, or that woman now has a hat instead of not. Like, you're looking at a picture. It's like, it's right, it's all still good. The problem with these headphones is they're like looking at a picture here. So if anything changes, you fucking know it. And when something changes between the amps, it's like, oh, that's different now. It's something I don't know. It's that. Do I like that more? It's not subtle. And when that happens on a headphone, it makes me question, who am I recommending this to? Because if I don't know what amplifier they have, if I don't know what kind of power draw, they're super easy to drive. Very, very easy to drive headphones have a problem, just in general, is that they don't draw enough out of the amp. And the amp is sort of sitting there going, I'm doing something, I hope you like it. Very, very hard to draw headphones will almost level out an amplifier's weirdness. There's like a perfect middle ground. And these are a little bit lighter. So if a headphone amp doesn't like... actually, I don't know what the impedance is on these. Because I don't know if it's just efficiency or impedance that's causing them to screw up. 15 millimeter, 33 ohms. 33 ohms is pretty fucking low. 33 ohms is... That's less than the Audio-Technica 2000X. Those are like 35 ohms? So once you start getting into amplifiers that are not used to that, because that's below what average is, you start getting different, like, pictures painted for you, basically. I haven't had a picture that I've absolutely despised, but I've noticed on some amps rather than others, the treble just gets up a little bit more, and you're like, And then, like, the Geshelli stack here is like primo. Apos should sell the Geshelli on their site. Apos, contact them. They probably don't, you can't take too much on overhead, though. They try to sell direct. But I want to see Geshelli be more places and do more things, especially with this wooden box they're using. So now, Living Dead Girl. Like, that's loud. That is Rob Zombie, Living Dead Girl at a volume that your mother would yell at you. And it doesn't hurt, but it's loud. So you're like, well, it's loud, but I'm not getting impaled on treble. So I guess it's okay. If I did that same thing on the topping stack, the song would end, obviously. Actually, that sounds pretty good too. Probably because it's a different build. All right, build. Ready? Zeos, timestamp build. When I got these out of the box, the first pair, this pair, I unpacked it. It was in Kennerton box because I hadn't had the equipment, ready for that. I had the Kennerton bag, and I took it out, and it still had everything like this. And I went, why did you use recycled plywood to make the cups? That was my first thought. Was, wow, this wood is not pretty. Because I've had pretty headphones before. ZMF stuff. The stuff on the Civga, like Phoenix, is like beautiful wood. And this is not beautiful wood. It's wood. It is fucking wood. You've got literally grain marks in it. And they clear coated it, but the clear is not smooth, so it's got like dimples in it. And you look at it and it's like, what is, like, it almost looks like fake wood from an old TV. And I'm like, okay. It's just because I got one pair of headphones. They're all going to be made of wood. They're all going to come different. They're going to look better and worse. Fast forward, before I get to the whole build of that, here's the new ones they sent. which looks like it was made out of plywood that was resurfaced from a fucking barge in the Great Lakes. Like, I'm a little bit lost for words because I want to recommend this headphone. I like Apos and I want to see them make more things in the future. But if it looks like salvaged wood, but not in that cool way, like, yeah, exposed brick, or yeah, this, my bumper of my truck is from a Russian tree that fell in the Tunguska blast of 1908, 1912. I forget when the Tunguska blast was. You'll tell me in the comments. Like, that would be cool. But you're trying to make a luxury $500 or then $600 headphone, and it looks like the wood, like this one in particular, it looks like they burnt it too. Like if you're looking at like comparisons there and there. I have the, by the way, 5000K is what I've locked the GoPro for this video. So I don't know if the colors come out. And it's not a good color either. Like wood should be light or airy. This is very, very furniture I grew up with in the 90s and late 80s. And this is very, very furniture from the 70s and also painted brown. Because everyone used to paint wood brown for some reason. So I'm just like, I don't love the way this looks. It hasn't cracked. It hasn't given me any issue. It's not sticking out with splinters. I just don't like the look of it. That's it. That's all. It's just a looks thing. If we ignore that, and we talk all about the sound, that's fine. Moving on to other build things. I like the back covers here. They're the Apos A's. Here's the Apos logo. There's the A. I did notice that A, I don't want to say what APOS is because, hi Apos, I love you guys. But that is Sod 5, which sounds like a game that I want to play. Maybe in Britain, Sod 5. So yeah, there's the Apos logo. If you pull these off and turn them upside down, you get a V. So you can call them the Vendettas or something. I don't know, whatever you want to do. But moving on from the build, let's go from the negative to a positive. Holy fuck, these pads. Because I'm a big pad whore. And these are not pads you can get anywhere else that I know of. They are, if they're memory foam, they're very, very stiff, fast memory foam. They are dense. They are fucking dense. Dense. Like they are just, ugh. You put them on and they, I don't know if they're genuine leather. I don't want to lie to you and say, oh, they're genuine leather. They're not genuine leather, because I want to see if they inch deep sheepskin ear pads with acoustic memory foam inner fill. Inch deep? 3/4 of an inch deep. Sheepskin ear pads. They feel, the pads alone are like, okay, you want to sell these for 500? Sold. Because the pads. Because you put them on, and let me tell you how they feel. We'll get to the clamp and the other major negative issue, but they feel like you're wearing a sheepskin set of HD 600s, because they're about that same shape and hole size. You get a tight 3-knuckle or a very loose 2-knuckle. And I've had to bend the headband a little bit like this to give them, because they do not have any rock. Because the last part of this complaint train will be the head, this. It's not uncomfortable, but you look at it and you go, when did Takstar start selling headbands to people? Takstar, if you don't know, is a brand that sells like $80 headphones. And they were saying this is a $600 headphone, which is now a $500 headphone. I'm like, but this is a Takstar thing. I'm like, no. The Bear Dynamic buys their headphones from here, and they look like the same Bear Dynamic style of like yoke and everything. But the Takstar stolen revisions of it, like the Pro 80, was like this, where it's, it's slightly tucked in, and they got these like rubber things with the regular screw holes in it. And this metal it's okay. It's okay. Like, I'm not complaining too much about the metal finish, but the edges are a little bit rough for a $500 headphone. And then it does not have any lateral tilt to fit your head this way, which is why I had to take it and bend it like this, just because I needed to give it a little bit more tuck into the back, and now they fit perfectly. You'll have to do the same thing, or maybe it'll fit you perfectly fine. But then you get to the rest of the headband, and this is plastic, rubbery plastic, and there's the R and the L in here, and then you got a decent amount of padding up here, and then a nothingness thing here, and it just looks This, if you covered this and said, what brand is this? I'd say Takstar. That's the least, I mean, it's going to work perfectly fine, but it's the least fancy and up-to-date $600 fancy fucking headphone. It's not that. That is not that. I mean, fuck, I've got the Sivga. Oh, get up. I didn't want to bring things on to compare against these directly, but fuck it. Sivga 21s. SVO 21s. These are the brown ones, by the way. Where the wood is, this is wood, but it's like smooth, and you can barely see the grain in it, so I could see that that's more realistic wood. But then this, fuck it, like the smoothness of this metal, and and the headband with the detailed stitching and the metal cups, and it's just and the clamp and the quality, and this is like $120 headphone, $170 headphone. And this is a $600 headphone, so it's got way bigger padding, but the stitching isn't actually showing anything off, and these are plastic, and this metal is not that metal. That metal is illegally smooth. And this is, so I have to compare against things that I know exist, and I know, like, that feels more high quality than this by leagues. Does it sound better? Well, that's a closed back, and that's an open back, and I won't compare the two. And this does sound like it does more magical stuff, especially for its price. It almost sounds like its price. But its build, the wood, the colors. I mean, I love the bag. Don't get me wrong. The bag is like, comes with the carry strap, and it's a nice bag. This looks like a camera bag that you get a Japanese, DSLR in the fucking early 2000s in. So I can't knock it for that. And then the wire is again decent, a little bit stiff. Like, it's a little stiff. Like, if it can make the arc like that, it's a little stiff, but it's a quality wire. And they're using decent connectors on the default cable. Like the mini XLRs are nice. They plug right into these beautiful ones. They didn't go cheap on it, like Hi-Fi Min does when they use shit like that. And when you put them on your head and you're not looking at them, and you've got them bent properly, and they're resting on the top, they feel absolutely perfect. They feel like a nice tight-fitting HD 600 just with leather everywhere or sheepskin everywhere instead of like felt. And you listen to them and they sound as good as I've described. They sound like they're an aggressive yet coddling, cheerleaders just kicking you to death. But then you take them off and you go, oh God, they're ugly. Why are you so, So I think as a first revision of headphone, they've made a lot of good things. They picked a headphone, they said, fuck it, whatever it is, I don't care, yeah, tune it, keep tuning it, send it out, tune it. Does it sound good? Good, sell it. But Kennerton probably sold them, if Kennerton sells this exact headphone, rebranded as Kennerton, and it has this shitty ass headband, and ugly wood cups, which I don't know if that's an Apos thing, if they picked the wood and this is just how they arrive from the mainland of China. But if they picked this wood and they love it, then that's their choice. But this headband is like bottom tier headband for a $500 headphone. So I hope they sell a bunch of these. I hope people get out and listen to them. I'll bring them to Capital Audio Fest. I'll let people hear them. I want people to hear them. I want people to hear these new things. I want to get other people's opinions. My opinion matters a lot, but it isn't the final say. You have to still love the thing. Why does that girl have that an M60? Or that's not a MG42. That's an M60, but it's got a sawed-off shotgun under barrel attachment, which is just cool as hell. So I want people to give these a chance. They're not an immediate run out and buy. I feel like you need to know how they sound. I'm going to try to get the sound demo done probably tomorrow and get that up on the sound demo channel. And for patrons, I'll just upload the FLAC. If you're a $10 patron, I just upload the FLAC of the sound demo right to that channel, which you can access. I can only give a pass to a company I like for a new product so much. Like, I have to look at the good things. But I also got to shit on the bad things. I wish for $500 it came with one of their flow cables, because honestly, these fucking cables are nice. They don't have their interchangeable system like Hart does, but they're nice, and they're like a thicker fabric, but yet still soft. It's quality shit. It's nothing wrong with the original one. It's just I just want balanced cables. I want it to come with a balanced cable. And the wood finish, like, I feel like this wood shape is fine. Maybe even the wood under it is fine. But they need to pay somebody like another $18 to sand it more, stain it better, and then clear coat it smooth and not whatever the hell they got going on here, because it looks like somebody just clear coated plywood at the back of a Home Depot, like a pallet. So it's just, it's not pretty. It is not pretty. As much as they say it looks beautiful, it's not. It's not. This is not. But I digress. We're here for the sound, and I think unique sound is important. Is it worth $500 to get that unique sound? Well, that's not up to me. That's up to the people who click the link and buy it. That wallpaper in the description. All wallpapers in every description. Links to these, obviously. I'll link to the flow cable, which I don't believe they include. I've asked them if they're like, no. I'm like, well, you should. Links, I guess I'll link to the Sivga in case you want to try something that's brown and beautiful. Like, you can see the stitching is not 100% perfect, but it's there. There's style. It's small. It's light. That was as close as it went. Whatever they do to this metal to treat it, it's just like, this feels like the pads in this are softer, but I don't know which pads I like better. But, like, that's the kind of, like, ooh, versus, like, ooh. But then it wins in sound. So, I mean, there you go. Patreon and Subscribestar. Support these honest, very honest, severely honest, and painfully honest reviews on Patreon and Subscribestar. For $5 a month, you get to see these reviews early, participate in yard sales, which means I will probably, if I think Apos wants the original one back to modify it into the new one, I will do that. This one, I think they're going to just let me keep. I'll probably keep them around for a little while to do comparisons, and if they want to change them, send them back to change them, fine. But if not, and I don't want to keep them, yard sale. So if you don't think they're worth $500, you think they're worth $197.18, every month from the 1st to the 10th, I let people bid on items in my house. Not any item. You can just bid on anything. That's dumb. That'd be silly. Buy bananas. But yeah, you get to bid on anything, and I will ship international for half shipping and free to the continent of the United States. Also, you get access to the Sound Demo Oasis channel, where all the sound demos that have disappeared off YouTube are re-uploaded, at least the audio from them. And all modern sound demos, you get the lossless quality audio from those. And then for $10 a month, and I'm sorry if you've watched old videos of mine, and I used to say, hey, just join my Patreon, I'll answer all your questions. For $10 a month, you get into the private behind-the-scenes Telegram chat, where I'll answer all your questions. Because I try to do it with $5 patrons, and it's got like, I've got like 900 patrons that I can't answer everyone's questions. I'm so sorry. But the $10 chat, you get in there with me, you get in there with like 200 other people, you ask your question, you ask Zeospantera, I will answer it. I can answer with my voice, I can answer with a video bubble, I'll, poke things up and try it out. That's what I do for my $10 patrons. You also get access to a private swap meet, where if you want to trade gear, buy things, looking for something to sell, looking for something to buy, you get into that for life. The $10 chat sort of like checks to make sure you're a $10 patron. The swap meet chat does not. Yeah, and like I said at the beginning of this video, Hi-Fi Guides and the Hi-Fi Guides forum are a nice place to discuss audio on the internet. That's all I wanted to do, is found a nice place to discuss audio on the internet. Not the comment section of YouTube. That is never the nice place. Hi, everyone that's commenting. Why are you down there? Just make sure you're wearing high waders, because YouTube. Yeah, wallpaper, this, that. The next thing, I'm done. Check out the sound demo, which probably won't be there for patrons right away because I have to still film it. I'm going to upload this tonight. And I got to do a whole thing. I got to set up. Anyway, yeah, no, done. Apos, thank you for sending these out. Thank you for sending 2 of them out. Thank you for trying to make something sound different by not going, I don't want a microphone to listen to music. I want to, you have a passion for the sound. You just have to straighten out the passion for the build. Because I will almost give a well-built headphone that sounds like shit a pass. Actually, no, I won't, because that's why I bought the Shure 1540s, because there are well-built headphones that sounds like shit. This is a good-sounding headphone that's built lesser than I think a $500 headphone should be. But, it's just, this is life in 2021. And I will see you all in 2 days.